Okay, listen. All right. Come on. Get focused. Get focused. Would you have ADHD? I don't know what the hell this ADHD shit is. I got good old-fashioned ADD, boys, all right? I don't need any of this newfangled nonsense. Excuse me, I'll have you know that I'm gender non-binary, and I have ADHQ-LMNOPD. What? No, get the shit out of here. It's just ADD, all right? You're just hyperactive, and that's fine. We need the hyperactive people out there. Quite honestly, you sloth-like sons of bitches, you ain't that much fun. You ain't that much fun. When it gets down to it, you want the hyperactive, mad lad, savage testosterone addicts. No civilization was ever saved by a bunch of pussies in cry closets. There's not one civilization around today where they're like, no, listen, we'll show them the barbarians. How are we gonna go? We'll show them our pronouns. We'll defeat them with our fifis. Open up your heart and use the weapon of emotion. That shit has never worked. If you tried any of that, congratulations, you're dead. And what you're seeing right now is that we have hit some sort of inflection point. This is going to be an ongoing situation. It's unfolding right meow.
It's really hard to look back on it now and go, what on earth happened?
Of hearts breaking all around the world.
She's becoming a royal rock star.
And then everything changed.
We thought we would take just a moment to address one of the enduring mysteries of modern life. What do people do all day? If you've ever been in an affluent urban area around lunchtime, you probably wondered that yourself. You see scores of fashionably dressed young people buzzing around, buying expensive salads, strolling purposefully as they listen to podcasts you'd never heard of on their tiny $300 intracranial headphones. Whatever they're doing, they look happy and self-confident. They are Joe Biden voters. They've got newly minted degrees in communications and marketing from places like Davidson and Cornell and Duke. Clearly, these kids are going places. But where exactly? And what, to be even more specific, do they do for a living? Now, that's a good question, and we have two ways of finding out. We have anecdotal and empirical evidence. So to get the answer, we can consult observed reality, the people we talk to, the things we see on the street, or we can look at the results of carefully designed scientific experiments that produce quantifiable outcomes. And tonight, we're going to consider both varieties of evidence. For the first, the empirical, we go to Elon Musk, who is both a business titan and a man of science. Elon Musk bought Twitter last month, and naturally he wanted to know what his thousands of new employees were doing all day. So to find out he didn't guess, Musk conducted instead a very simple experiment. He fired 80% of them. That is not something you see happen very often in the practical economy. If you fired 80% of the workers at an asphalt plant, you wouldn't have roads. If you got rid of 80% of the workforce at your local power station, you would be living in the dark. Same with farms and cabinetry shops and most manufacturing facilities. Businesses like these have employees whose jobs are essential to the business. Nobody wonders what they do all day because it's obvious. So how about Twitter? Well, on NBC News, they told us that Elon Musk had just made a titanic mistake. Without all those brilliant young employees from Duke, Twitter would immediately collapse. Users would abandon it. Well, apparently Elon Musk does not watch NBC News because he ignored them and he went ahead and fired 80% of his staff anyway. What happened next? Well, Twitter thrived. The site didn't crash. Engagement rose to record levels. Most people who used Twitter liked it even more. So Musk's experiment, in other words, showed that at least 80% of his payroll wasn't doing much of anything at all. They were the ones you saw listening to their podcasts and ordering $40 salads. And of course, uploading cute videos of themselves to TikTok. This is the documented work product of one Twitter employee from the Atlanta office. Watch.
Hey guys, come to work with me at Twitter in Atlanta. This was my first time going into the office in such a long time, but it was nice to have a change of scenery from my apartment. Look at my coworker Grace, she's so cute. For lunch, we decided to go downstairs to Bar Vegan. If you haven't tried it before, it's a black-owned restaurant inside of Ponce Market. We ordered the quesadillas with tots and then also got a Fancy Pants cocktail, and they were all really good, so I'll definitely be back. After lunch, we came back upstairs to an extremely empty office, but honestly, we're just so proud of our productivity. After work, we went back downstairs to Mineras to reward ourselves with some after-work margaritas.
Rewarding ourselves. So that's what they're doing at Twitter's Atlanta office. They're drinking at lunch and trying to become famous on TikTok. Looks fun, but is not, as a math question, a huge addition to the bottom line. But we want to be fair, so let's check in with Twitter HQ in San Francisco. San Francisco is where all the tech people live, all the geniuses from Stanford, the ones who actually learned to code. So what's their workday like? Once again, for the answer, we go to TikTok.
Welcome to a day in my life as a Twitter employee. So this past week, went to SF for the first time at a Twitter office, badged in. Honestly, took a moment to just soak everything in. What a blessing. Also started my morning off with an iced matcha from the perch. Then I had a meeting, so quickly scheduled one of these little pod rooms, which were so cool. They're literally noise canceling. Took my meeting, got ready for lunch. Look how delicious this food looks. Oh my goodness, I was so overwhelmed. Then made my way down to this log cabin area. I don't know what this is, but it was really cool. Played some foosball with my friends to kind of unwind a bit. Also found this really cool meditation room.
So she seems like a nice girl, actually. We're not being mean, but just consider the workday. Played some foosball with my friends to unwind before hitting the meditation room for further unwinding. This after the contemplative morning iced macchia, whatever that is, then lunch, then a stretch in the noise-canceling pod. That is quite a bit of unwinding. Again, she seems like a super nice person, but is that work? Well, as it happens, at about this time, there was work to do at Twitter. The site seemed to have quite a bit of child pornography on its servers, and it wasn't unknown. Twitter executives did know that, but they did nothing about it. Elon Musk revealed today that Twitter's trust and safety team, the in-house censors who decided that Dan Bongino was dangerous, went ahead and ignored the kiddie porn. So did the CEO of Twitter at the time, Parag Agrawal. No problem with the kiddie porn. But maybe at this point it seems like we're being mean, and we don't want to be. We don't want to single out Twitter unfairly, because it's not the only tech company in America where people don't actually do anything all day other than unwind. Here is a video diary from a project manager at Facebook, now called Meta.
Day in the life as a 23-year-old product manager at Meta. I always journal in the morning. I then do a quick workout routine. I get dressed. I try to look cute every day. Got some food at the office. I make a coffee every single morning. I need that. I did some work on the roof. Worked until lunch and then ate up there. Here's me being cute. I got a snack always. I then shuttled home. The view's so pretty. Met up with some friends for dinner.
Project manager. No mention of the projects being managed. Extensive chronicling of snacking, dancing, going out to dinner. Well, it is easier than working at an asphalt plant. On the other hand, not quite as productive as working at an asphalt plant. So if you watch enough of videos like this, and there are many, many, many videos like this out there, you can start to worry, just on the edge of your mind, but it creeps toward the center, you can start to worry about the U.S. economy. If we had mass layoffs in white-collar America at social media companies, consulting firms, university administrations, well, snack providers would obviously take a hit. There'd be a lot less midday snacking going on. But can we really say that the country would be worse off? Honestly, we can't say that. And then there's the federal government, and that's not a small category. The U.S. government is the largest employer, well, on planet Earth. Millions and millions of people work for the U.S. government. What do they do all day? Well, unfortunately, due to privacy laws, we can't really answer that question in any detail. We don't have a right to know what they do all day. It's only our money. Shut up, Surf. But there are hints that suggest what they're doing all day. One of them comes from the Department of Energy. Until recently, a young MIT graduate called Sam Brinton, another genius, oversaw the disposal of this country's nuclear waste, and that's a big job. So how did he do it? What did Sam Brinton do all day? Well, we checked his Instagram, where he posted several nude photos of himself, tied down by ropes. There's another picture of him standing over college students wearing fetish masks. So Sam Brinton did that. Now, how, you may ask, as a non-federal employee, is that related to nuclear waste disposal? Well, we didn't go to MIT, so we're going to let Sam Brinton himself explain. Watch.
For me, it's the first openly gender fluid person is the most important word there, being openly. A lot of people ask, what in the world does your gender fluid identity have to do with nuclear waste? And I will respond with, I am given the opportunity to serve my country as I am. And that's a really important aspect of my work because I work on nuclear waste management.
So you'll notice a theme that connects all of these videos, that interview and the TikTok videos we already showed, talking about yourself. Me, wonderful me. Would you like to hear more about me? Talking about yourself. Narcissism is a key point of the workday for a lot of people, and it's an essential part of nuclear waste management. Also, Sam Brinton stole women's underwear, which doesn't seem, strictly speaking, related to his job at the Department of Energy, but we're not bigots, so we're trying to be open-minded here. And we will say, and this goes into his category as a win, Sam Brinton didn't just steal underwear. He was very serious about stealing other people's underwear and apparently wearing them. So serious that he paid the price for it. And again, you got to give him that. Last month, as you likely know, Sam Brinton was charged with a felony for stealing other people's underwear in other people's luggage at the airport in Minneapolis. So he was committed to it. Then last night we learned that Sam Brinton has been charged with yet another felony for stealing more underwear at the airport in Las Vegas. So here you have your tax dollars at work. We wonder what the Biden administration thinks about this. Their executives running around stealing women's underwear, but they're not going to criticize it. They're not bigots. Stealing other people's underwear from airport carousels could be a critical part of nuclear waste disposal, and they know it. They know it. Now the rest of us know it. So you've got to wonder, take 8 steps back, you've got to wonder what Paul Whelan thinks of all this. You've heard his name. Whelan is the Iraq veteran, the former Marine, who's currently serving 16 years, really the rest of his useful life, in a Russian penal colony. And he's still there tonight because the Biden administration decided to bring home a female basketball player busted for weed instead. And they did that because she had a lot more friends in the media and a much more interesting personal life. And in some sense, if we're being honest, you kind of got to blame Paul Whelan for remaining behind bars tonight. If only Paul Whelan had stolen someone else's underwear from an airport carousel, or advertised his sexual fetishes on Instagram, or decided to switch genders and therefore become holy, if only he had done that, Joe Biden would have responded. He would have sent the 101st Airborne, and Paul Whelan would be home tonight in a bondage mask in his own house. Of course, he's been in a Russian prison, so he didn't know the rules have changed. So you can't really blame him. Chadwick Moore is a journalist, contributing editor at The Spectator, and an expert on changing rules. He joins us tonight with reaction. I mean, Paul Whelan, that's how isolated he is. He didn't even know if he'd gone gender fluid, he'd be home tonight. Like, can we get this message to Americans in prison around the world tonight, do you think?
Yeah, I think we need to. You know, turns out all that glitters is not, in fact, gold. And case in point is this radioactive drag queen who, by the way, we already know way too much about his personal life and his sexual fetishes than we ever ought to know about any government worker. But it turns out now his creepiest, most bizarre kink was sitting there waiting at baggage claim all along. He has a fetish, it would appear, for stealing luggage, which is so creepy and so strange. And the thought of that mustache drag queen, like, rummaging through your clothes, like, ugh. But the reason why I say it's a fetish is because when you think of luggage thieves, you think of what, like, some kids taking the train to the airport to, like, hopefully find an iPad to sell it. I don't think that's what this guy was doing. It's like he's getting off on this thing.
Well, can I just ask you to pause right there? I mean, neither one of us is a psychiatrist, but, like, how decadent do you have to be to reach the point where you've just tried everything and become bored of it, that stealing luggage is what turns you on? No, seriously. Like, that's pretty far out if you think about it.
Decadent is such a good word for that. Yes, it is late stage capitalism, Rome falling. It's very extremely decadent to be into this. I think that the lesson we all learn from this, however, though, is if a man shows up for a job interview wearing high heels and potentially a stolen dress, don't hire him for the sake of diversity. That's not diversity, that's mental illness. And you're not going to be a bigot if you don't hire the crazy man in the stolen clothes. You're going to be protecting your company because he's clearly going to be a liability. I think HR directors should maybe take that one to heart.
So we already knew that. We already knew that. That's a nothing burger. We're moving on. No. First of all, normies don't know it. Not saying that normies will get it after this. The normies will get it eventually. The normies are being kept from this. The normies are being kept asleep. There's a difference between a normie and a nut job lefty. Our job is to wake normies up. Their job, these lizard people, are trying to keep normies asleep.